Awakening can feel very lonely, extremely lonely, even when you don't have people around you that are understanding what you're going through. In this video, I'm going to share my personal awakening experience. I'm going to share how being misunderstood was part of my journey, how I spent so much time on my own and, did feel quite lonely. I'm also going to share some of the changes that I went through and my environment and just some personal changes that I experienced over this time. Because I want you to know, if you are a woman going through this, you are not alone. If you're starting to see things a little bit differently, you have a different perspective, you're not resonating with a lot of things that you might have resonated with before, there's nothing wrong. You are expanding, you're growing, you're awakening. You're not crazy, and I want to kind of give you that guidance and support to reassure you with that. So hello, my name is Krista, and I do guide and support women to allow them to tap into their inner wisdom, to really hear what their inner wisdom is saying, their guidance, to trust it and to act on it. And this allows them to make aligned decisions moving forward in how they want to live their life. Okay, so let's talk about the awakening and how lonely it really can feel. It is really, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It can feel really lonely at times. And even when you are surrounded with a lot of people, if you have a big friend group or a big family, it is very isolating and it can feel very lonely. I found it was really hard I didn't have conversations with anyone in my network, in my personal network. There was no one I felt when I was going through it that I could even talk to. So that was hard. That was really hard. And for the longest time, I didn't even understand what was happening to me. I felt like I was kind of going a little crazy in the initial stages. And I remember specifically talking to my husband, trying to explain to him what I was going through. I didn't really quite have the perfect words to describe it because, again, I was still kind of navigating this myself and I was trying to figure it out, but I didn't even understand what was happening. And there was a time when I did try to explain to him, and he looked a little concerned for me. He looked a little worried. And so at that moment, I realized that you can't explain to someone the awakening process unless they have gone through that themselves. And that was really when I kind of could clearly see that they're not going to, he's not going to understand me. And anybody that has not gone through this experience will probably not understand me too. And to be honest, at first I wanted people to understand. I wanted them to get it. And I wanted to be seen, like, I wanted to share this, but over time, I've let that go. If they get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. And I'm perfectly fine with that now too. I have no issue with that as well too. I've let other people needing to understand, or, that has long disappeared. And, I did keep a lot to myself because I am probably a more private person anyway. I was probably a more introverted, quiet person on my own. So I started to find that just having time alone by myself just felt right. Like it felt peaceful. It felt easy. It felt calm. I didn't have to pretend. I didn't have to be someone I didn't want to be. Just spending time on my own just felt right. Like I like my own company. And I just spent a lot of time on my own because it felt good, because I couldn't talk to anybody about it. And so that was hard. Just, kind of keeping things quiet, not always saying what I wanted to say early on. I felt a little different than everybody else. Some of my views, some of the things my perspective changed. I was aware of things that I felt like not everybody else was aware of at that moment. And I just kind of kept things kind of quiet, private at that point. And I did find some online groups, and they were very supportive. And I found, lovely small groups of women where I could just be myself, and we could have some of these deeper conversations that I was really craving. I was just so done with small talk. I wanted to have deep conversations about topics that I'd never spoken to anybody about before. I just like this, suddenly I was I was awakening. I could expand. I could see things in ways that I had never done before. And I wanted to have these conversations, and they weren't mainstream, and they weren't really available in my perfect, in my, not perfect, but my one-to-one, my day-to-day life. So I had to go seeking places where I could have these conversations. And I did find that, not a whole lot, but I certainly did. And I found that was very supportive, very grounding, and I looked forward to it. So I felt very grateful. But yeah, I did crave just wanting to go have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea with someone and just being able to talk to someone one-on-one about this. But I didn't have that, and that's okay too. But I did have an online group as well too. And I also started to realize that I wasn't crazy. I was awakening, and millions of other people have gone through this as well too. At the time, I didn't even understand what was happening. I kind of thought I was going a little crazy, but I realized the stages that I'm going through are perfectly normal, and this is what's happening. Once I kind of had a little bit of an understanding of what was happening, that started to change. And also with that, I started to really trust what was happening. Before I wasn't sure. Now, and the last few years, I trust where I am right now is perfect. What I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing, it's perfect. There's no mistakes in this. Everything I'm going through is perfectly designed for what I'm aware of. And I know this will grow. It's almost like an onion. Different layers will be peeled back. What I see now, I didn't see years ago, and I'm sure down the road, I'll, be in the same situation as well too. So just understanding that it can feel very lonely, but I also believe that your awakening is meant to be your own, and it is meant to be lonely on purpose, because this is where you really start to see yourself, and you kind of uncover things about yourself. You look at patterns, you look at things you've never even thought about before. Your identity shift, what's a priority shifts. You let go of things that you never questioned before. You make different, more aligned choices in how you want to experience your life. I don't really love hanging out in big crowds anymore, big events. That's kind of loud music. I want quiet. I want peace. I stopped drinking a few years ago. Not that I was ever a big drinker, I was not, but I gave that up. That just felt aligned and right. I really, started to trust and navigate where I wanted to spend my time and who I wanted to spend time with. And at the end of the day, my peace was my number one priority. So I wanted to feel peace. I wanted to feel good. So I would choose situations or crowds or people where I had that peace, and that helped me navigate where I spent my time. That was almost like a little rod of where I was going. So that's part of it. Everything changes, and it's part of the whole process. And yeah, so I just want to reassure women out there, if you are going through this yourself and you are feeling really lonely, even though there's lots of people around you and you're feeling maybe a little misunderstood, I just want to kind of reassure you that what you're experiencing is part of the process, and it gets easier. I'm not saying it's easy all the time. It's not. I still feel kind of a little like I can't talk to everybody about this. That's why sometimes I wanted to share this, because it is still kind of new. I do believe down the road, I think as the years and decades go, this is going to be huge, but I feel like it's kind of on the early. It's not everyone is there, and some people will gravitate to that and some people won't, and that's perfectly fine. But I just want to reassure you that where you are is perfect, and loneliness is part of the journey. You're not doing it wrong. Seek out people, groups where you can have those conversations if they are something that you're craving or something that you are desiring. They are available, and there probably will be more coming up down the road as well too. I think it'll be a bit more common and mainstream than it was before, but they are available, and just seek that out, because that helps you to kind of feel, just helps to navigate that experience a little more easily, and that's a good thing. So again, if you want any support, guidance with any of this or any other content that I create, feel free to reach out. There's descriptions, there's links in the descriptions or ways if you want a little bit more support with that as well too. But I wish you all a lovely day, and just want to reassure you that navigating awakening can be a lonely experience, but it's part of the journey and it's perfect for you as well too. So wishing you all a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.